Perfect. Well, we're rolling. Bruce, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's a 406 photo. Tell me what you do and what 406 photo is.
What I do. 406 Photo is a portrait and wedding studio. My studio is in the Emerson here in Bozeman, Montana. And I photograph families. I photograph weddings. Those are kind of my specialities, so to speak.
Okay. How did you niche to that specialty?
That was a matter of figuring out what I really like. And what I like in the wedding world, it's one of those things where I get to do everything, and it's almost like running or something. You get this high from just going, and I call it my artistic runner's high.
Okay.
But also, I'm kind of a romantic, sappy guy, so being around people in love and just all that joy and happiness and fun and chaos of a wedding day, I thrive on it, and I get to create beautiful photos that couple are going to remember their day for the rest of their life, which that just, it satisfies me. It makes me happy to do that. And then within the family portraits, it's kind of similar. I'm capturing memories and moments that will never happen again. Your kids will only be 2 or 3 or whatever the age is. They're only at that stage once. And I just, get the greatest satisfaction out of capturing that moment, whatever it is. And every moment has something special, something beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's all the crazy stuff too, but I catch the fun stuff and the sweet, little magic moments between family.
If we go to the wedding specifically, is it just wedding day? Are you doing stuff with the bridal party with the groomsmen, or are you just their day of? How broad as far as, is it just wedding day, or does it kind of expand?
Most people, it's wedding day, but it'll be getting ready. It'll be what I call the family formals. So, all the bridal party, family, all those photos, ceremony, the reception, the big party. And within that, there's just all sorts of things going on. I typically photograph with a second photographer. So we're just capturing every moment of what's happening in that day. And one of the fun things is after the wedding, I show them their album design, show them their photos, and they'll see things that they had no idea were going on because they were so busy getting married that day. And it's just fun to see those reactions. But it's like I'm a storyteller, just telling the story of their day. But occasionally I'll do the rehearsal dinner. That doesn't seem to be a popular option, but I like doing it just because it helps get the couple, and it also gets the wedding party more comfortable with me being around. And of course, engagement sessions kind of serve that same purpose. It helps the client or the couple get more used to being photographed. And for us guys especially, it seems like we need, just a little more easing into that.
For sure.
So it builds, and it helps build rapport too, which all shows up in the end in better photos.
To go off of that, in your mind, what makes the perfect photo? Or maybe asked another way, how do you capture a perfect photo? Hi folks, quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show.
I could go all sorts of directions with that.
Yeah, whatever way you want.
Well, every couple's different. So that's part of my process, is getting to know them and know what's important to them. And that tells me what I should be looking for that perfect photo. But for me personally, it's the emotion. So they typically want something that's, a little staged, but not too staged. They want it to look natural, but everybody needs a little guidance so that, they don't look awkward in their photo. But I give them a lot of little cues and just watch them. And my magic moment, or my ideal photo, is when I capture something where they're not thinking about the camera. They're just into the day and into each other. So it might be just a silly laugh. It might be just, little romantic look. It might be a tear.
Yeah.
But those real emotions, that's what makes me happy. And if, of course, I can be in a beautiful location at the same time, it all adds to it. But it's emotion.
Yeah, the concept of posing for a photo is almost a little bit strange.
It is. It's unnatural.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been photographed a million times going through, getting a degree in photography at MSU. I was the one that people would photograph the most because I feel so awkward in front of the camera. And I wear glasses, which are an additional complication. So I know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's awkward, but you survive.
I think, you could answer this better than me, but the more you think about it, the harder it is.
Yeah, it's very true. But if I'm doing my job, I make people forget about the camera and just think about, whatever the situation is. And usually it's having them interact in some way. So they're thinking about that and not, looking perfect. And miraculously, they look beautiful when they forget that the camera is pointing at them.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your tactic and approach to do that?
Oh, God, it depends on the person. So there's a lot of different personalities. Most people, it's distraction, maybe having them do some type of activity. I might ask them to, one of my favorites lately with couples, especially couples who are a little uncomfortable or maybe, uncomfortable showing affection in front of a camera or in public or having other people there. I'll ask them to Eskimo kiss and then have them stop and look at the camera.
Okay.
And a lot of times they'll just have the most magical smile. And then if usually it's the guys, us guys. If the guy is just still feeling stiff, I might ask them to do an Eskimo kiss, but this time aggressively. And they get a big funny grin and, eventually I get it. But that's just one of 1,000 tricks. It just depends on the situation. But this week, it's the Eskimo kiss.
Yeah. So part of that for you is getting to know the couple too, and just sort of how they communicate.
Yeah, very much so. And also wanting or learning if they even want to appear affectionate on their photos. Some seem to want to be more stiff and traditional. That's a bad way to say that. But anyway, some are more comfortable with showing that affection and some are not. And I have to suss out what they want.
Yeah, I guess I asked the perfect photo, but it's going to be subjective to everyone's
It's subjective
preferences.
To the subject. Yeah. Subjective to the subject.
I gotcha. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you do a lot, you do the framing and everything too. I remember when in one of the business group that we're in, you used an analogy of kind of just delivering the photos and then a fully prepared product.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall what that was? It was something in the term of, a prepared meal, versus just groceries?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of what I do that is different than other photo studios, whether it's in my family portraits or in the wedding side of things, is, I guess, comparable to with most photographers, they provide you with the ingredients. So it's like going to the grocery store and buying the ingredients to make a meal. In that case, it's, most photographers, you hire them, they give you X amount of digital files.
Yep.
And then they leave you to figure out how to print them, how to frame them, how to make them look their best, how to make them, fit in with your decor, etc. Whereas I would compare myself to a chef, if you were to use that analogy, in that when you come into my restaurant/studio, instead of just giving you the raw ingredients, I'm actually preparing that meal with you. And I'm taking the time to get to know you and what kind of meal you want, what your tastes are. So you're getting, in this case, the meal would be a wedding album that tells your story, or a piece of wall art that you're going to pass on to your children when they grow up. Something that becomes a family heirloom, whether it's that album,
Yep.
that has, stains from being looked at so many times by your kids and your family, or, just that beautiful piece of art that you see every day and just makes you smile.
Will you go as far as seeing where the portrait's going to be in the house so that it fits into that house or how the interior is designed?
Yeah,
Okay.
we go into a lot of detail about that. I actually talk to my clients about colors, how they decorate their house. Around here, rustic is, of course, very popular.
Yep.
There's also, various modern, clean, white looks that people seem to like. So yeah, we talk about what their home looks like, what their colors are, and even what their tastes are. Like, do they envision the landscape as a big part of the photo, or do they envision themselves as the main part of the photo?
Okay.
And dramatically different looks, but we want, something that's going to fit in and complement their decor.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
You brought this portrait, tell me a little bit about this, and when you turn away from the mic, it'll be tricky to keep near the mic and tell me, but tell me what's going on here and just sort of what thought process went into this.
That one, we, of course, it was the usual chatting about what the home looks like, etc., what colors. She pretty much knew exactly what the colors are. Her home, lots of clean whites. I think she had blue accents on her couch. It was like a white leather couch. And so the denims and the white shirts and khakis, it all just worked nicely.
Okay.
Not so much the matchy look, which people
Yeah.
don't like right now. It seems to not be very popular. Gosh, what else?
And do you have different places that you'll suggest depending on what they're looking for as far as where to go take these photos?
Yeah. There's a couple of parks near Bozeman that are very popular that have like really nice views of the Bridgers. And it depends a little bit on what time of day is best for them, especially if there's little kids involved. We have to find the best light on the location and on them that works around their nap schedule
Yeah,
or
that
their
makes sense.
feeding schedule for babies. But yeah, and then there's other folks that just want, a simple, clean studio portrait. So I offer studio portraits as well, though most people around here, they want mountains in the background. They want something that looks Montana.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
That particular one was taken up in Big Sky. There's
Okay.
a nice little field. Now I'm not thinking of the name of it. The place that does the horse rides.
320 Ranch?
No, on the way up to the
Lone Mountain Ranch?
Lone Mountain Ranch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, this was taken on a ridge
cool.
by Lone Mountain Ranch.
Nice.
Hopefully you'll edit that.
And it looks like springtime.
Yeah.
Spring, summertime, just by the greenery I'm going off of.
Yeah. I think it was early spring. Everything was very clean. And that was a fun session too.
Yeah.
After that, there's an old jack fence on that property. So we did a bunch of photos near the jack fence, and
nice.
We actually did a couple shoot just for them, since they hadn't actually been photographed as a couple in many, many years.
Oh, very cool.
And of course, the kids were all making faces, but that's part of the fun of it.
It's probably easy to get emotion when there's kids making faces on the side.
It is.
Yeah.
But you get some great smiles too.
Yeah, I bet. What's your, I mean, you've kind of said it or alluded to it, your favorite part about doing this, but it's just capturing the happy moments and the memories of everyone.
It is.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things. I mean, this particular one is more, I guess, posed than a lot of what I do. But yet everybody is comfortable. The smiles are there and they're in the moment. They're not feeling awkward. They're just happy to be out there.
Yeah.
And I think, I can't this one I did a couple of years ago. I can't remember how I cajoled the smile, but it was definitely not, okay, stand here, move your leg, smile.
Yeah.
There was a little bit more that went into it.
What would you say is the most challenging part about this profession?
Ooh. Wow, I really got to think about that. Honestly, the people, the photography, that is all, that's the fun part. And that's, even though it can be challenging, I enjoy that. The most challenging part of what I do, though, is the marketing and promotions and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of us as business owners definitely can relate to that, because you find something you enjoy doing, or there's parts of it that you really enjoy, and there's parts of it that you don't enjoy at all.
Yeah.
And you gotta, hone all those to have a successful, profitable business.
Yeah. I have a degree in photography, which did nothing for the fact that I really need a degree in marketing.
Yeah. Is there, I asked this at some point in the podcast, is there anything anyone can do to help you out? Are you looking for anyone to market? Do you do most of that yourself these days?
I do a portion of it myself, and I bring in a few different people to help me with various things in the marketing realm.
Yep.
So I'm kind of covered at the moment. So I don't need a bunch of marketers to reach out to me right now. But I think the main thing is just, I'm always trying to reach out to what in the marketing world they call the ideal client.
Yep.
So my biggest challenge, and rather than looking for, say, a marketer, I'm just always looking for people who actually appreciate photography, and photography is art.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot of people think of it as a commodity, and that commodity is like going to the grocery store and buying digital files, when in actuality, it's something beautiful that you put up on your walls that, preserves memories, makes your kids feel proud. But finding the people that actually appreciate that, that's my biggest challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. If people want to check out your work, what are you on a lot of social media? Is most of it on your website? Where's the best place to get a taste and idea of the work you do?
Best place is my website,
Yep.
which I'm assuming you'll list
Yeah.
on the show
It's
notes.
406photo.com.
Yep, 406photo.com. And once you get on my website, you can go down the wedding path or the portrait path, depending on what you're interested in. But I have portfolios there. I do also, you know, have a social media presence with Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram, but I would say most of what I do is on my website itself.
Is it a particular style of wedding photography that you would, or is there a category, or is it general as far as just weddings?
That's a
Yeah.
super good question.
I'm asking out of complete ignorance. I don't know if wedding photographers,
No,
will claim to certain styles or anything like that.
yeah, there are definitely different styles, both in how we photograph a wedding, like the coverage of the wedding.
Yep.
And there's also different styles of how we present the images and look of the photos.
Okay.
So within how I cover a wedding, it's a little bit of a hybrid in that there's a part of me that is a photojournalist telling the story of the wedding. And typically I've got in mind, how their album is going to lay out while I'm photographing the wedding, how I'm going to tell that story from beginning to end of their wedding day. But also, and this is where being a wedding photographer, you wear a lot of hats. So at some point, I'll be wearing my fashion photographer hat. Another point, I might be doing close-ups of their rings, all those things that people expect. But I wouldn't call myself a photojournalistic wedding photographer because there's more to it than that. And sometimes getting the right look requires a little guidance. You can't, for me anyway, I find that it's hard to just watch what's happening and wait for that moment, because sometimes you wait and you wait and you wait and the moment doesn't quite happen. And, suddenly you're missing things that that couple might have wanted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then as far as how the photos are presented or edited, there are photographers who like a very vivid, vibrant look. There are others that are very saturated. So it's kind of a dreamy look to them. They're almost kind of white, almost like you're remembering through a veil of clouds,
Okay.
is what I think of it. But some people find it very romantic, that look. I go for more of a realistic look, I guess, would be the best way to describe my editing style, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or suggestions for couples or families getting photos done to make it a better experience overall, or just to have their
that's a huge yeah.
I mean, is there stuff that they can do that helps you know what they're looking for, and then they can get a little bit more of their hopes or expectations met?
Actually, I've got one good thing for both wedding couples and families, and that is just taking the time to get comfortable with your photographer.
Okay.
My wedding and my family clients, I always have like pre-session meetings with them. And a big part of it is just getting comfortable with them. So taking the time to do that, I think, really helps.
Yeah, I'd imagine it helps
when you're
you.
comfortable, you look better in front of the camera. And it seems like there frequently is a bit of resistance. People are always in a hurry and don't want to do all that, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, I was saying I'd imagine it makes more comfortable for you and for them, which ultimately will make a better product.
Yeah. I mean, you want, you You want photographic art that you're going to look at for years and years to come, and hopefully your kids will, put it up in their home. So you want to get it right.
Yeah.
You want to take the time, and even with wedding couples, you're spending your biggest, most crazy day of your life with your photographer. So you want to be comfortable with your photographer
Yeah,
or
that makes sense.
photographers. So it's definitely important.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's number one in both categories.
Is there anything else? Apologies. Is there anything else that you want anyone to know about what you do?
Boy. That's a good question. I feel like we've covered a lot of what I do.
Or why you do it,
Yeah.
which I think you've covered indirectly.
Yeah, I think that I'd want people to know about what I do is just trusting the process. When a prospective client contacts me, I think they're sometimes surprised at the level of input that I ask.
Yep.
And it's all for a reason. So it really makes that difference. But just trusting me that I know how to actually create something beautiful, and I'll find what that is for my client. But it usually takes a little investigating and a little bit of investment of time on everybody's part. As far as why I do what I do, honestly, it's just the joy of creating something beautiful.
Yeah.
There's that artistic side of me that I'm happy when I make something beautiful. And if it happens to make my client happy, that's just bonus points. It makes me ecstatic.
Yeah.
So anytime I can create something that makes my client happy, makes me happy, that just makes me feel like I have the best job in the world.
Yeah, very cool. Understandable. I'm gonna put the link to your website in the description, and I'll put links to your social, and hopefully this will get some more prospective clients in front of you and
Yeah,
get you to be able to do more of what you love.
that's always good.
Perfect. I appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
Bruce. Thank you. Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode, along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.